Hey there, Nocturnes! Welcome back to another episode of Surviving College. I'm Jeremy and I'm a senior high school teacher in the Philippines. For tonight, I'd like to talk about a two-letter word that's so simple yet hard to say. Well, as far as the Filipino culture, contemporary culture is concerned, and it's no. Simple as that. Why do we find it so hard to say no? Well, there is a lot of reasons, but one of them is that we seek approval. We are afraid of rejection. But what is the worth of that acceptance if it comes with resentment at the same time? Resentment caused by the forced agreement to someone else's demands, right? So it's not that kind of approval is not worth having after all. But you'd want to say no in a way that will not have a bad effect on you. And probably that is what you need to know, how to say no gracefully at work. So the first tip that I have is that when you say no, just end there. No. Don't explain, don't negotiate, just say no. And if you are required to give a reason, well, don't be too specific, especially if it's a task that you are not really obliged to do and it's not really aligned with your priorities. And you know if it's a priority when it aligns with your role in the company. That's why you really have to know from the start why you have been hired in the first place. You weren't hired to be someone else's punching bag, so you could easily say no to people who want to spill their drama on you. And you have no obligation to absorb that. You, however, have the responsibility to take care of whatever needs to be taken care of by your role, the one that you applied for and got accepted into. So that's how you know. So probably the first tip is to know what to say no to. And when you say no, mean it. No more negotiations. But if you know that even if it's not really your job, but doing it can help you achieve your career and or personal goals, then the second tip that I have is to time your yeses. Okay, maybe this week you're saying no to helping with the program of a particular party. As I record this, Christmas is fast approaching. So let's have that as our example. Let's say you've been invited to help with the crafting of the Christmas party program, and you know that you have other priorities. Your hands are full, too full to say yes to that kind of favor. So, what you can say, well, for this week you are not available, but let's say in January you are ready to help with the program of the next party or event that you're having. Okay? So probably the answer is not no totally, but not yet. And then the last tip on saying no, well, stop feeling guilty when it comes to setting boundaries. Maybe I'll do a separate episode on setting boundaries, but I think that is what you really need to give up. The unnecessary guilt of setting boundaries and saying no to things that really do not contribute to your well-being, and you have the right and you have the responsibility for your well-being, because if you're not well, how will others benefit from your non-well-being? So don't treat it as a luxury. Treat your wellness as a responsibility, because we all have the responsibility for keeping ourselves alive. And how can others benefit from us if we are sick, if we are unable to perform our duties well? So you really need to invest in your me time. So that's basically it for tonight's episode. I just want to emphasize to emphasize that saying no is indeed a necessity if you want to manage your time. So with that, let me know through the comments. Drop your thoughts below. What should the next episode be in this series on office politics? Continue surviving in the dark for the next episode.